All right. Well, welcome to episode number 7.
7.
We're on a roll, man.
We are.
So, at the time of this recording, a few of them already have posted.
Mm-hmm.
And the response that we're getting, like I'm seeing people in church now.
Yeah.
And they're
awesome.
like, hey, this is awesome. So that's encouraging, right? Because you kind of put something out there and you're like, is it going to work out or what?
Yeah.
So,
Well, it feels good. I mean, I've always wanted an avenue to share with people my thoughts and everything. And if they can benefit from, just some information, then it's a win-win for everybody. And
for sure.
Hopefully it makes them think for themselves a little bit instead of just taking everything else for granted.
Yeah.
So.
No, for sure. Well, I'm excited about today's topic. I don't know how popular this one's going to be. This one goes against the grain.
It does.
If anything we talk about goes against the grain, I think it's going to be this one because there's so much information out there of got to get out of debt, got to get out of debt, got to get.
Yes.
Right. And there's a couple ways of thinking about it. You got the Dave Ramsey line of thinking. Mm-hmm. All debt's bad, except for a mortgage. He's okay with a mortgage, but, baby step, 6 is pay off the mortgage as fast as possible. It's either 6 or 7.
Yep.
I think 7 is give everything or give a bunch of away. So I think baby step number 6, if I was to go back, it's pay off the mortgage, right? You've knocked out everything else. You got no debt. You're putting at least 15% into retirement. You're doing, 521 or 529 plans for the kids in college, which I think is crap. But there's so many better ways out there. But anyway, back to the thinking, pay off the house. Then you got the Robert Kiyosaki way of thinking, which is, put extra money, what you were going to pay off the house with, put extra money towards assets that are producing cash flow and use the cash flow to pay off the toys.
Yes.
Right? Or at least pay for the toys, maybe not pay them off.
Yep.
Right? So in my mind, I think paying extra to your mortgage is stealing your wealth. Right? If anybody was to listen to this podcast, if we reached one person, I hope it's my mom.
Okay.
My mom, she's in her 60s. Mm-hmm. They built a brand new house, 3 years ago, something like that. I think it was in the 300s, close to 400,000. Mm-hmm. And she is so adamant about, I've got to pay everything off on this. And that worries me because she's right there on the threshold of what typical Americans call retirement.
Yep.
And she's putting all her money into a trap that she cannot access and will not produce a monthly cash flow for her. Yep. How's that going to help her in retirement?
Yep.
Her net worth might look good, but what people don't understand, and this drives me crazy, is just because the number on your net worth sheet shows a certain amount, you don't have access to all that.
No, you don't.
So that's what worries me about that.
Yeah. And, somebody may listen to this and say, you know what, this still isn't something I want to do, and that's okay. But if nothing else, by sharing some of the numbers, some of the thought processes of what we share on why we would encourage you not to rush to pay off your house, if anything, it makes you think about the decision that you're making. And then if nothing, maybe it also helps you solidify your decision, even though I don't agree with your decision. I mean, we don't agree on everything when it comes to stuff that we do. But if nothing else, maybe it helps you solidify the decision. And you know exactly why you're making it instead of just because Dave Ramsey says so or Susan Orman says so, that's why I'm doing it. And you haven't really put pen to paper and realized the pros and cons or the consequences, I always call them, of your decision.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And don't just not pay off your home early because Jason and Colt said so.
Yeah, exactly. So let me preface that as well, because we're just sharing our thoughts and our ideas. And yeah, I'm biased in my thoughts or ideas, or that's not why I would be doing what I'm doing personally for my family. I feel like this is the best for me. But my goal is to at least open your mind of a different way of thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
let me start out this way. So in 2008, housing crash. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember it well, but I lost almost $10 million. That sucked. 76 properties gone, right? Were there some things I could have done to save it? Probably, right? But I reached a point where there was just so much piling up on me. I just wanted the problem to go away. and then it just snowballed, right? But I will say that I incentivize the bank to foreclose on my properties because I had a good equity position in those properties.
I could see that.
Right? And so what people don't understand is your lien on your property does not go away once you hit 50% equity or 60% equity or something. It is on there until you pay off the loan entirely.
Yes.
As long as you owe $1 on your house to the bank, they have a lien on your $500,000 house.
Yep.
And they still own it.
Yep.
Right? And so that's the problem I have with this is because the bank owns your house until you completely get them out of your life.
Yep.
And the more equity you have available for them, the more they are incentivized not to work with you if you fall behind, but to force your home into foreclosure and take their equity right away.
Yep. And I'll say, we always try to share our personal thoughts. So I appreciate you sharing that. Not a whole lot of people would be willing to share, a financial struggle that they've been through. For me, I'll be honest, this wasn't what we're getting ready to share was not my initial way of thinking either. When Allie and I started to increase our income, I fell for it, just full hook and sinker in terms of paying off debt as much as possible. And when our income started to grow exponentially, we had a mortgage payment, we had car loans, we had student loans, all those type of things. And within about a 3-year stretch, including paying off all those things, it was about $185,000 that we paid off in debt within like a 3-year time span, following Dave Ramsey's thought process. And it did not increase at all our monthly incomes. It did not increase any cash flow coming in. Our monthly expenses were the exact same as what they were 3 years prior. It's just our net worth had grown.
Yeah.
But our in and out cash flow, which is what you need to live on a month-to-month basis, did not increase or get better at all.
Yeah.
But we were still working our tails off and had this thought process in mind, but it really wasn't benefiting us, as we'll kind of get into here in a minute, that from a money in, money out perspective.
Well, and that kind of reminds me of our episode from earlier when we talked about, the point of investing and everything is to buy time, right? Is your wealth is decided on how long you can live off of from your cash flows that you produce, right? And once you hit your living expenses or your passive income is exceeding your living expenses for the month, your budget, you are financially free, right? And so you just said that you guys paid off $185,000 in 3 years, and you just admitted that created no additional cash flow for you. I mean, I would hate to put that into a computer real quick or a calculator and see.
Let's not. No,
we should do that, right? Let's say a 6%, right? And that's $6,000. That's almost $12,000. That's $1,000 a month that you guys are basically missing out on.
Yeah.
That could have paid. And you'd still have the assets. Yeah. And that's just rough and dirty.
Yeah. So, I had a note here that at one point we were paying $4,000 extra a month on our mortgage. So you think of that, okay, let's just call it $50,000 a year. And yeah, you throw it at a whatever percentage rate, and it's been 10 years now. What could that have grown to?
Yeah.
It's just crazy to think. So yeah, I had the same note here. So not to give you a hard time, but yeah, I'm like, I want to know, I wouldn't want to know what that would look like now. Just from an asset or what we could have purchased to create cash flow over the years.
Just kind of looking at our notes, just kind of diving into this, the number one reason why I would not pay extra towards a mortgage is it's an equity jail from your money standpoint, right? Yep. Every dollar that you put extra, you have to, let's say you went and you have a $500,000 house and you've paid extra and you've got that down to $250,000 loan, right? That doesn't do any good for you. That $250,000 doesn't do any good from you. It doesn't lower your monthly payment one bit, right? Your monthly payment stays the same. But let's say you run into a hard time. You've put a lot of money. You've paid $2,000 extra for the last few years or whatever, instead of putting that into investments and everything like that. And you run into some hard times, right? And then you start to fall behind on maybe a car payment or something. Heaven forbid you miss one payment.
Yep.
that's reported to the credit bureaus. Because as soon as you have a 30-day late, the banks will not do anything for you.
Yep.
They only lend you money when you are in good times.
Yeah. And when you can almost prove that you don't need the money.
Yeah.
In certain instances. I mean,
When
really,
you don't need the money, they're willing to loan it to
Yep.
you.
Yep.
But when you need the money, they're unwilling to loan it to you.
because you cannot prove that you can pay that money back. So why
Correct.
would they loan you money? It's no different than I wouldn't loan somebody money if I thought that there was a high percentage that they wouldn't pay me back.
Yeah.
So the banks aren't any different.
Yeah. So the only way you can access those funds is if you refinance, right? Which we already said is going to be kind of hard, or you sell the house.
Yep.
Those are the only two ways you can access the money.
Yep.
So
I learned my lesson. We had built up all this equity inside of our houses. And in 2019, I said, that's enough. I learned my lesson. And the worst thing to do is just continue to do what you're doing if you know it's not the right decision for you. And so we did a 180 and we reversed that whenever we took out our mortgage on our home that we have now back in 2019. And so, mortgage rates were at, I'm paying a 3.625. And so in 2019, I made the switch and I'm like, I'm getting this money out of this equity jail.
yeah,
And I'm going to start taking advantage of the fact that, we're going to flip this script and put more of the risk on the bank and our mortgage instead of putting the risk on me.
yeah,
Because you alluded to your mom. So she has a paid off house. My parents' house it's paid off as well.
Oh, it's not paid off.
So,
She's trying to pay it off.
okay.
But she's got a long way to go, and she's very close to retirement.
Okay.
So
Well,
do the math.
so thinking of that, let's say she's throwing this money in, something happens where she needs, I'm just trying to think of all the horror stories, surgery or somebody that, let's say is close to retirement, gets laid off and they need 2 or 3 years worth of financing to where they can retire until they're ready. Try to go to the bank and get 200, 300K out of your house and you have no job. How are you going to pay that back? The bank is not going to loan you anything on the equity of your house. I'm sorry to say, but I don't think a lot of people are putting the thought. So that's why we're calling this equity jail.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, so the second thing that comes to mind is, we talked about opportunity cost, right? If I put money somewhere, by definition, I cannot put it somewhere else. There's only one product that I know of that allows you to put it in two places at one time.
Places at once.
And we've alluded to that. Well, we talked about that in earlier deals. It's a whole life policy, dividend paying whole life policy, high cash value, right? And so if you put your money towards the house, it is gone forever until we talked about you either refinance or you sell the house.
Yep.
Right. And so you lose out on so much opportunity cost that way. So let's go back to that $4,000 that you were paying extra a month. And I know the typical listener's probably not having a $4,000 extra income that they could just throw towards a mortgage.
Yep.
I get that. But in your case, I mean, I guess when you look at what kind of investments that you could have put that money towards, that's investing $4,000 a month into something that could have spun off cash flow that would have still raised your net worth, right? You wouldn't have lost the money.
Yep.
But it would have provided you additional income, right? And so that's the lost opportunity that we're talking about.
Exactly.
That, well, you just lost.
Yeah. Yep. So would you rather save, $300 a month in interest, or would you rather earn $300 in income, or you let that continue to ride, maybe grow to $3,000 a month in income? I would say that's a better play, having income coming in, than trying to save on interest. And we're going to get into tax breaks and those type of things that you have when you have a mortgage. So let's not start talking about that yet. But I mean, there's just several things you need to look at and look at a pro and con on all those. And one of the big ones is lost opportunity.
Yeah. No, and I want to preface this by saying I'm not a financial planner or advisor, right? So what I choose to do, I'm not saying anybody else should do that, but here's how my mind thinks. So my wife and I, and we still struggle with this today. It's like, man, we could really pay off our house or pay down a lot towards our house. And we run into the same mindset, right? We struggle with it. We know that we shouldn't, but we still struggle because we see the debt and we still relive some Dave Ramsey years and everything. But then I always pull out my calculator. And I was just looking the other day, I ran a search of REITs, right? REIT is a real estate investment trust. It's a stock, but they pay out a monthly or quarter dividend, right? I found 8 of them that are backed by commercial real estate. Again, I'm not a financial planner. I'm not telling you to go do this, but it's a good way for me to earn passive income, right? I'm still investing in real estate. I love real estate. And I found 8 of them that are paying out 15 to 22%, right? So if you want to diversify, there's 8 of them out there. If you want to, just Google REITs and go do your own due diligence on it. So looking at that, right, if I was to pay off my mortgage today, then I would save roughly $4,000 a month. Now, keep in mind, taxes and insurance are part of that $4,000. So it's not, I wouldn't even save that.
Yeah.
I'd probably save $2,700 a month by paying off $465,000. All right. I did a quick calculation, and if I put that money into the low end of the REITs, the 15%, I would earn almost $70,000 a year, or $5,800 a month. So same amount of money, paying off the house, I would save about $2,700 in expenses a month. Right? Because I still got to pay for taxes and insurance. That's a different story. Right? If you think you ever own your home, just don't pay your mortgage, or don't pay your taxes for a few years and see if the county ever comes and takes your house. So $2,700 in savings, or $5,800 in income, which could in turn pay for my house monthly payment of $4,000, and I'm still left with $1,800.
Well, I think that scenario right there should make people at least think and have a little bit of caution with maybe the choice, and say, instead of just jumping in with both feet, this is what I'm doing because somebody else says that, maybe I should just slow down a little bit.
And what if all of a sudden later down the road, what if I did that first, right? What if I saved up my $465,000, I put it into investments like that, it spun off that kind of income, and that's what I'm doing. Now I'm using my passive income to pay for my house, right? And then I just get a wild hair one day. I'm like, hey, I just kind of want to knock out this house deal. And I start paying for it. Well, once I pay for the house, I have all that equity, but I still have this asset, right? I'm still making almost $6,000 a month from the asset that I built first.
Exactly.
So also, let's talk about, you put notes here and everything on, it's an inflation leverage, right? So talk about that.
Yeah. So we all know, and if you don't know, now you do, that the dollar is losing value every single day. And so the mortgage payment that I have today, the X amount of dollars, those dollars later on in life are going to have less value. So why not lock in the amount that I'm paying today and have those dollars locked in payment when the dollars are worth less later on, but yet I'm still paying the same amount. It's a protection against that. And so, anywhere else in life, the carton of eggs, the milk, the whatever we're paying for grocery wise is going up exponentially. And throw out the numbers of 3%, 4% inflation. You could just do the math and think about what groceries have actually gone up. I mean, if you at least put any thought to it, you'll know all those things are lies. And so think about this, that everything else is going up, but yet for the next 30 years, my mortgage is locked in on a set amount, even when hopefully each one of you listeners, your income's going up, your passive income's growing up, but that mortgage payment is staying flat for the next 30 years. That's the protection that you can have against inflation.
So it was funny, my daughter and I, she's 12 and we're talking about cars already for her, but we found a car. It's a Buick. It's one of the brand new ones, Buick Invistas. Invista, whatever. It's like $25,000. She's like, that's not a bad price for a brand new car, Dad. Right? She's 12. Right? I said, you want to know what's sad? I said, when I was in high school in 2000, right? I was a sophomore in high school, and I had my dream truck in mind. and it was the high end truck. It was a Ram 4x4, 1500 extended cab, yada, yada. Had all the top end luxuries of the time. It was $27,000, brand new. Now, we talked about already on the show, my GMC AT4 was a $75,000 truck.
Yep.
And I don't really feel like I'm getting a whole lot. I still got a sunroof back then. I got power windows back then. I mean, cool, my screen's nice and everything, but it's like, man, 27,000 to 75,000 for roughly the same type of product.
Yep.
That's what inflation has done over, and that's only been what? Oh man, I've been out of high school.
20 whatever years.
25 years.
25 years.
25 years, it's tripled, almost tripled, just trucks alone. That's insane.
Yep.
So 300% increase.
Yep.
So definitely an inflation hedge and everything.
And we're not even talking about the fact that you get appreciation on your house over that time too. So, I mean, the value is going up, but yet the payment for that is staying flat.
Yeah. So let's talk about the fourth reason. So everybody, the media is great at fear mongering, right? The market's going to crash, the recession, or whatever. For one, I would say stay off the media.
Yep.
And quit listening to them because they just, But let's say there is a recession, right? The best thing that you can have is cash.
Yes.
When it comes to recessions.
Absolutely.
So talk about that for a minute.
Absolutely. So, people will talk about, cash is king, or, they'll also in the same light say savers are losers. I'm like, well, hold on. You can either have it one way or the other, right? Either cash is king, the fact that you have cash available to take advantage of opportunities, or somebody that's saving is losing. Both can be true, but I would argue that those that are able to take advantage of once in a lifetime, once in a decade type opportunities are sitting on cash. They don't have their cash sitting in equity inside of liabilities, which I argue that your house is a liability.
I'm right there with you.
I would argue that, and until I'm blue in the face with
It's
somebody.
your biggest liability.
It is your biggest liability. And so if you have cash sitting inside of a liability and you have a deal to buy a business, buy real estate on sale because everybody else wasn't prepared for something to happen, and the place where you have to go to get that cash to take advantage of that deal is inside your house, good luck of a bank taking more risk by giving you the cash out of your house to then allow you to go out and take some risk in the market.
Yeah.
Good luck. And so you need to have something on hand. And I would argue, okay, great. You want to set money aside, the thought to maybe potentially pay down your house. Okay. Well, we could talk about places where you could do that. Maybe we will at some point. And then in 15 years, you still want to pay off your house. You've got this lump sum of money that's been growing in investments because you've been taking advantage of the opportunities and such, not locking it away in your home. Then still go pay off your house. You can still take advantage of the exact same opportunity that you were going to, but over the next 15 years, it's going to be exponential in terms of opportunity. But if a 2008 happens, a 2000 happens, whatever crash happens, then you're then able to even use that cash to go out and buy assets, and then maybe you don't feel like you need to pay off your house quicker because you're able to take care of the opportunity.
Yeah.
So you just need to be ready and prepared. And it goes back to that emergency fund and those type of things that we talk about also.
It's funny, just from what you were saying, I got two things that I'd like to cover real quick. And remember, I've been in real estate. Well, I've been an investor since 2004. Love real estate. I've been a real estate agent since 2013. So I've sold over 800 homes, everything like that. Coming from a real estate agent, I can tell you, now most agents will not, they'll lie to you and say, oh, it's your biggest asset. But it sounds like your definition of an asset and your definition of a liability aligns with mine. To me, an asset is something that puts money in your pocket at the end of the month, right? A cash flowing property, some dividends, whatever, royalties, it's putting income in your pocket. A liability is taking money out of your pocket at the end of the month, right? So yes, your house does go up in value. That's great.
If you sell it at the time that the market's right and those type of things. So,
Exactly.
I would take that as that's another reason why it's a liability.
Yeah.
You're almost speculating the fact that it's going to appreciate.
It is.
It's proven that it has, but I mean, you don't have any control over that.
Well, let's talk about the other thought that I was thinking from what you were saying. I remember when I lost my 76 properties and went bankrupt. I was looking online, and at the time, I just wanted a different life. I mean, I'll just be honest. I wanted a different life, and I was looking at homes in Florida. And I saw what they were a year ago at the time and what they're selling for now, right? During the crash, the housing crash. They were on sale. They were 60, some up to 70% off what they sold for just a couple years ago, right? So those people lost all that equity, right? All that value. And had I done what the wealthy do and store up cash, right, and be ready for opportunities, I could have took advantage of when those properties were on sale and really rode up the market in the last 15 years.
Well, and that's a great point. And my mind goes to thinking of those individuals that are in their 60s, late 60s, who have been counting on this wave of appreciation that's been going for years and years and years. And they're thinking, man, I've got built up $300,000, $400,000 in equity. I mean, some of those homes in Florida, maybe $1 million in equity built up. And when I finally retire, we're going to sell this home and be able to get this equity and live off this equity. And they had no control over what happened to the markets in 2008. And now all of a sudden, all that hard work, even if they were paying extra, be able to tap into this equity, and you have $500,000 gone within a couple weeks. I couldn't imagine what that would feel like.
Well, and on top of that, your 401ks are cut in half.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just everything's,
And that's when you find people that thought they were going to be retired, or they're in retirement and now they're having to go back to work for another 10 years or something like that because of sequence of return risks. And we can have an episode on that here at some point talking about that.
I think about it all the time when I go into Walmart and I look at, the people up at the front, the people greeter, door greeters, whatever you call them. Most of them, man, they're just, they're just elderly, right? And they have to probably work. Because the last thing I want to do is do that when I'm 75, 80 years old. And I'm not saying anything negative against them, everything. I know they were probably living off, a mindset back then that, hey, this is just what you do. You put back into retirement and you keep paying on your house and you pay extra. And now they're forced to work. I just don't want to be in that position, right? So, and lastly, what we were thinking is and I never really want to do something just for a tax advantage, but you get to write off the interest on the mortgage, right? And so that's huge when it comes to just a tax advantage. Right?
It does over the course of time when you start to think, okay, well, I paid, $300, $400 a month in taxes, in interest every single month. I mean, it does. It starts to add up over time. And so you just need to take that into account. That's an added advantage of home ownership compared to renting. For some people, renting makes sense above home ownership. But if you have a home that you're owning, it's something that you need to take into consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about some alternatives. We kind of hit on a little bit of it. We'd rather put the extra money into something that's going to provide an income later, guaranteed that it's going to stay there. So what would you do?
What we do is we make a minimum mortgage payment every single month. Any additional cash flow that we have that is above and beyond what we set aside for monthly living expenses. We have 3 kiddos. They love to eat. And, they have ball games, all these different things. So we have our monthly living expenses. We have a set amount that we save and that we put into systematically an opportunity fund. And if there's still an abundance, then I'm looking for a place for those funds to go. And so if it's just a simple interest-bearing account, if it is continuing to build out our infinite banking policies, then that's where it's going. I need to just see an upward trend of that. If a windfall comes in, it's never going into my house. It's going to go somewhere else that can earn a higher rate of return than the 3.625 that I'm paying on a monthly basis on my mortgage.
So that's the question I always ask. And, Dave Ramsey's like, there's nothing better than the way your grass feels underneath your feet on a paid off mortgage, right? Here's what I ask people when they say, hey, I'm wanting to pay off my mortgage. And they say, I automatically ask them, what's your interest rate? And yours is what?
3.625.
3.625. So here's what you're actually telling me, Jason, if you want to pay off your mortgage earlier. Colt, I have found this amazing investment product. It's going to blow your mind, right? You need to get involved in this like ASAP. And I say, great. What is it? Oh, man, this thing it's saving me, or it's earning so much money. Cool. What's your rate of return? 3.625%, buddy. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm making on my money. Because essentially, every dollar that you put towards your mortgage extra is just saving you the interest that you would have paid.
Yep.
Right? And so you're saying that you're better off saving 3.625 rather than putting that money to work into something much higher.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So that's what people are really doing when they're doing that.
Yep. I don't want to take too much time, but I think it's important for you to understand. The banks actually want you to pay off your mortgage quicker. Okay? So that's doing multiple things. It's increasing their cash flow.
Yep.
So I did and the way they're doing this is they're enticing you, because we've talked about this before, about interest rate. That's all you hear marketing wise, interest rate. Well, it's about volume of interest. It's about cash flow is how you need to switch your mind.
Yep.
And so I was surprised because we talked about this. I'm like, man, what's the difference between an interest rate on a 30-year note compared to a 15-year note? There used to be somewhat of a gap there, but I was just looking at a couple of the local banks here in Wichita, because I don't know where you're apart and wherever you are at in the country, I can't know, but I do know we're sitting in Wichita. A 15-year note is at 6%. A 30-year note is at 6.625. That gap is not as big as what it used to be.
Nope.
The way they used to get you was you're saving an interest, right, on your interest rate. Well, if you think about this, now the gap isn't there, so they've taken that marketing tool away from themselves, I would say. But the reason why they entice you with a lower interest rate is because they know their cash flow is going to be more. Mm-hmm. So on a $300,000 house, the interest rate goes from $2,531 to $1,920. So that's $611 more a month that the bank is taking from you. And they love it, because what they're going to do is they're not going to put it and paying down their buildings. They're going out and loaning it to other people to earn a higher rate of return than what they're paying for that 10-story building that's downtown.
Correct.
And so I would just look at, what are the banks doing? I'm going to do what the banks are doing.
What game are they playing?
Exactly. And so even if you take that out 7 years, because you had mentioned that, the average person moves after 7 years, there's research that shows that, you're only saving $28,000 in interest over those 7 years. And I would argue, if you're taking that, what is that? 600 times $7,300 a year. And if you start investing that even at like 5%
over 7 years, that's $50,000.
You're going to be ahead.
Yeah.
And so that quick, easy math right there shows you. Plus, you move in 7 years. You're starting the whole thing over, and the bank's still getting the higher cash flow month in and month out.
Yep.
And so there's a reason why they're enticing you with interest rate.
And we go back to volume of interest, right?
Exactly.
And so there's a reason why, if you've been in your house for at least 5 years, you will start to get more junk mail in your mailbox from lenders, from banks. Refinance, right? They want you to refinance because they want you to start that cycle all over. And they entice you with a little bit lower payment to help you out on a monthly basis. But what you've done is you restarted that interest, for them all over again. And the majority of your payment, especially at the 30-year mark, goes towards interest.
Exactly.
Right? So we want to play the same game that the banks are playing, right? And I will say, just like we said that your house is your biggest asset or biggest liability for you, it's your biggest asset for the bank.
Yes.
Right? Because you making that monthly payment is money coming into their pocket on a monthly basis.
Yep.
Right.
It's creating cash flow for them. It's creating less risk. So if you stop making the payment, you've got your house paid down 50% and you're not able to make the payment anymore, they're more than happy to take your house because they can sell your house at 70% off and still make a 20% profit. Plus, they've been taking all of the payments for however many years you've been paying on that house.
Yep.
Now, the individual that owes 80%, they're going to work with that individual and say, hey, okay, we'll give you 30 days here. How can we make our payments? All that, because they know that they may or may not be able to sell that house at a 10% discount.
Yep.
And still be able to have a gap between the 90 and 80 and still be able to make some money on that sale.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's another aspect of why they encourage you and entice you to pay your house off quicker also.
There's so many times in real estate, being a broker, that I've ran into people that have paid a lot down on their house and they're facing foreclosure. And working with the banks to stop that foreclosure is very hard.
Yep.
But if somebody has only been in their house for a year, put 3.5% down, and the market's kind of softened up, I've known people that have been behind for 6 months, 8 months, and never even got a foreclosure notice.
Yep.
So it's crazy what the banks, because all they're doing is they're looking at how can we recoup our money, right? Should we just wait until the market recovers and then we know we can sell it at a discount, right, at the foreclosure auction or something like that and get our money back? That's all they're looking at, right?
Just because you think you've been doing the right thing for the last 20 years or the last 10 years, the bank isn't always going to reward you for that. I mean, they're a business.
Yeah.
They're in the business of making profits, and that's solely how they base their decisions.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry to, and that might not be how you would treat people as an individual, but that's how the banks do their deals.
Yep. So if I was to do, well, I'm like you. Instead of taking extra money that we have, we've just decided to put it into, we've expanded our infinite banking system, right? We bought more policies, right? And so we're building up cash value, and then we're taking out policy loans and putting that money into work, into assets and everything that's just going to spin off more investment income later on down the road. So that's what we do. Not saying that's the right thing to do. You do you, right? But that's just what we do. You know, studying wealthy individuals. Now, there might come a time where we're like, you know what? We just want to be completely debt-free, not owe anybody anything. We've built up our passive income, and we don't want the hassle. And we just do it. I don't know. We'll see what happens when we get there. But
you have that option.
We have that option.
Yep.
And that's what I love about what we've been talking about. It's all about, it's going back to, you know, building margin in your life. The more options you can create for yourself, the better.
Yep.
And when you give all your money to the bank and you tie all your money up into your mortgage and you can't access it, you run the risk of losing options.
You sure do.
When you need it. So,
Sure do.
Anything else you want to add, buddy?
I don't think so. I hope this has opened a couple people's minds, and maybe it's a different avenue or a different way of thinking that they haven't thought of. So, because a whole lot of people, I know of a few, but I've seeked out the information that are talking this way and given that other piece of perspective, but it's very few and far between.
Yeah.
So if I can just add, we can just add another couple of voices to that, I feel like we've done something really good for people.
Yeah. And if anything, if you don't like what we have to say, at least still give us the thumbs up, right? So, but no, hey, thanks for tuning in. Next week, man, what do we have next week? We're going to talk about the path of money.
Yep.
Right? And that's exciting to me because money is a game, right? People get so caught up on having to hoard so much money and we got to work for it and everything. But when you look at it as a monopoly game, and there's only so many things you could do with money, right? Then it really opens your mind to new ideas and, you know, just gives you, again, more options and everything. So I'm excited to talk about the path of money and everything. So be sure to check out the next video. So until then, we'll see you.